Hey everyone, and welcome to another episode of Preview and Recap. Unfortunately, I'm going to see a movie today that is not currently out on home video, so I won't be able to actually show you my reactions, but I'm going to tell you what I know about it now and what I know after. Movie I'm going to go see is Star Wars Rogue One. For the longest time I thought this was about the Bothans, but I'm like 99% sure it's not. The Bothans were the group that found the plans for the second Death Star, not the first one in Episode 6. So this seems to be a completely different group. And I like that because even with the Bothans, like you kind of know that at the beginning of Episode 4, they clearly got the plans from somewhere, and then just kind of made it like, oh, it just happened. So this is pretty neat that we're about to see the story of how that happened. What am I looking forward to seeing? Oh my god, clearly Darth Vader. I love the fact that, I mean, you know, in my time, a movie's coming out in theater after 1983 that Darth Vader's in. I don't count Episode 3 because he's in it for such a short period of time, and that's the key. Is this going to be a very quick Darth Vader clip? I'm hoping not. I mean, James Earl Jones is fine. I'm really hoping that they actually allow the... I mean, I know he's not going to be in the movie the whole time. I know that. But I'm really hoping those 3 shots that you see of him in the movie aren't the only shots. I have a bad feeling those are probably the only... He's probably only in 2 scenes. But I want them to be like long, drawn-out scenes. And now we have the Anakin background, so you can kind of combine that. And you can have a lot of fun with that. And I'm hoping that's what they're going to show in this movie. I don't really know much about the characters other than that. I know that the person who seems in charge looks exactly like the person from Episode 4 in the Rebel base, which I thought is pretty neat. So, we'll see. We'll see how this goes. Some people are saying it's better than Episode 7. I don't know if that's true or not. I'm filming this in December, and I'm actually filming this on the same day that Carrie Fisher had a heart attack, so the future of Star Wars, as I'm going to see Rogue One, is in serious jeopardy. Obviously, I hope Carrie Fisher's okay, for obviously just personal reasons, but if something were to drastically happen, you never know what's going to happen for the rest of the series if Princess Leia doesn't die in Episode 8. Alright, I'm going to go see Rogue One, and then I'll come back and I'll tell you what I thought. Okay, and I just got done seeing Rogue One. Normally I do my little, like, over-review, positive, the negatives. I'm just going to go straight through the movie and comment as I go because my mind's so jumbled, it's really hard to separate everything. So, the movie starts off with a little girl seeing her mom get shot and her dad get taken away by the Empire, and she gets basically adopted by this guy who was a rebel, then he became like a rebel. It's kind of strange. So then you see the girl grown up, and she is also a rebel. A matter of fact, she gets rescued, and during the rescue she fights off the rescuers. So then she gets taken to the Alliance. The Alliance tells her that they basically need her to get to her father so they can figure out what's going on with this Death Star. And she reluctantly agrees to help. Honestly, I don't even remember the reason why. I think it was kind of a you have no choice because we captured you type thing. So she goes to a planet. She eventually finds the guy who adopted her, and he tells her that her father is still a rebel the whole time, and he's devised a plan to bring down the Death Star. So what's funny for me is that everybody has always been like, oh, it's so ridiculous that the Death Star can be brought down by one bullet. But apparently it was an intelligent design by the architect. Which just is kind of a way of, I don't know, just making up an excuse for itself. Kind of interesting the way they did it, though. One flaw I really find is that, like, suddenly after this, like, the girl eventually becomes, like, this revolutionary rebel. Like, we have to do this. And at the beginning, she was just kind of on her own. She could care less. And I know that it was because her father said it, that he was... But I never really saw the connection of going from I'm all for myself to I need to do this. Like, for example, in the original Star Wars, you understood why Han Solo went back at the end to save Luke. But in this movie, it just kind of started. There was no transition, and that actually really bothered me. Another thing that bothered me is that she eventually goes to the planet where her father is, and there was a miscommunication, and the Alliance actually comes in and is actually the bullet that kills her father. And yet she still is fighting for the Alliance. So, not that she'd switch sides or anything crazy like that, but the fact that that was never really addressed. Like, she just didn't seem to, I mean, they brought it up. It's like, oh, the Alliance technically killed her. But she didn't seem as pissed as I thought she would be. And I thought her character was really underdeveloped, unfortunately. I really did. I liked the little band of misfits that got together and, were doing all these missions together. Her character, she's the central character, and I just thought it wasn't developed at all. So that really bothered me. They do the long-awaited Darth Vader scene, and I gotta say, that disappointed me too. Honestly, like what you saw in the trailer with Darth Vader walking in, that's as good as it gets, really. Because, unfortunately, in my opinion, James Earl Jones is older now. And when he's talking as Darth Vader, you can hear the age in the man. And it's so cool that he came back and he did this and everything. But it's not like even in 2005, where in Revenge of the Sith, he sounded exactly like the Darth Vader of the 80s, at least to me. But in this movie, you can hear the age, and I'm just like, ooh. Like, I noticed this now, and I didn't like it. So the Darth Vader scene was kind of a downer for me, but we'll get to something else a little bit later. So honestly, it's about 2/3 into the movie, and I'm ready to say this movie not sucks, but is not what I wanted to see. Then they did the battle on the planet where they're trying to find the plans, and that battle was just awesome. It was beyond awesome. It was long, which kind of hurt it as I'm thinking about it, but it was just so great to see a classic Star Wars Empire versus Rebel battle, and that's what it was. And in my lifetime, I haven't seen it, and those were the classic battles where the technology wasn't good enough back in the 70s and 80s to really emphasize what they were trying to do. And now here you are in 2016, and you can actually present this battle, and you do it in an effective way that isn't too much CGI. It respects the original, and the technology is so much better you can appreciate every aspect of the battle. Like, even when ships were blowing up, they weren't doing it in too much of a CGI way. They did some CGI characters. Governor Talk was completely CGI, obviously. That was weird. Sometimes he looked perfect. Sometimes you could totally tell it was a fake person standing there. And at the very end of the movie, they did a CGI Princess Leia, unless that was a deleted scene from the original, but I highly, highly doubt it. But her CGI was great for Carrie Fisher. Like, that was beyond perfect, because I would have totally guessed that was a person standing there. I didn't see the CGI at all, which was great. So then the battle ensues, and you kind of knew it was going to happen. You knew that there's a reason all these characters aren't in Star Wars Episode 4. You knew they were all going to die, and they all die. But what was really awesome is how the movie ended in the last 2 minutes. They showed Darth Vader going onto the Alliance ship trying to get the plans, and Darth Vader goes into this complete fight mode. He's using the Force to throw people around the room. He has his lightsaber out. He's actually battling. And it's just all the action you've ever wanted to see. And it was really the only time I think they really mixed the Anakin Skywalker with the Darth Vader we know into one scene, in one shot. And it was just great. And it was like, oh my god, why couldn't the movie have more of this going on? So I'm very divided. But the cool thing is that you can literally go from the end of Rogue One into the beginning of Star Wars Episode 4. Like, there's no in-between. Like, it goes directly timeline from that to that, which is awesome, I think, that the way they did it that way. And not unexpected, but it was pretty cool. I'd probably still give this a 7 out of 10. It had some awesome scenes that I can't go without, but I'm shocked that it's rated that high in Rotten Tomatoes. I'd probably put it around 70, 75% at the most in terms of ratings. I don't think it's good as the episode movies. Mainly because it is kind of a movie that's just like a side story, and it could have been a lot shorter, honestly, since it is a side story. And like they're talking about doing a Yoda movie, so it's neat to do this, to kind of like take a look at the past and seeing like how characters developed and whatnot. But I'm hoping it's not going to turn into just like crappy movies. So I'm hoping for the good of the future of the Star Wars franchise, and I'm looking forward to Episode 8, obviously. The one thing I was hoping this movie would do, and I'm going to have to research it, is that old guy at the beginning of Episode 7. I thought he was going to be tied into Rogue One somehow. As far as I could tell, he wasn't. So that's kind of a disappointment, but maybe there's something I missed, so I'll find out. And as of right now, Carrie Fisher still is unknown at this time what's going on with her heart attack, so hopefully she's okay. Alright, thank you very much for tuning in to watching this video. As you know, if you have any ideas for a movie, TV show, or anything else you would like me to review, just leave a comment below and let me know what you want me to do. Alright guys, thank you very much for watching this, and take care.